This is IGN. Doom and Bloom. This is your IGN review of Silent Hill F by Tristan Ogilvie. There are few who would dispute that last year's Silent Hill 2 was a supremely well-executed remake of the 2001 original, but you could also argue that developer Bloober Team's modernizing of a survival horror masterpiece was a pretty safe bet. Silent Hill F from developer NeoBards Entertainment is a much bolder undertaking by comparison. It offers an entirely new story in a completely foreign setting, with a captivating protagonist who bucks the series' trend of featuring predominantly morose middle-aged men, and keeps its handguns holstered in favor of a strictly melee-focused fighting system. Although the cumbersome and inconsistent nature of its pipe-swinging combat made it something I had to grin and bear rather than rip and tear, Silent Hill F is a success in almost every other way, and is certainly one of the strongest new games in the series since the PlayStation 2 era. In case it wasn't clear, Silent Hill F is a Silent Hill story that doesn't in any way feature the well-trodden town of its namesake. In fact, it's the first mainline entry in the iconic Japanese survival horror series that's actually set in Japan, in this case, the fictional village of Ebisugaoka in the 1960s. It provides a backdrop rich with carefully crafted cultural touches that make it one of the series' most intriguing locations to explore. Every little detail combines to evoke a strong sense of place, from the muddy rice fields to slosh through, to the Lamune soda bottles to gulp down, and the puzzles inspired by local folklore to solve. It's also the first time in a long time that a mainline Silent Hill story has allowed us to take control of a lead character with any sort of meaningful depth. In this case, high school student Hinako Shimizu. The black sheep of her family, Hinako is clearly the victim of an abusive alcoholic father and her subservient enabler of a mother. In typical Silent Hill fashion, her many psychological scars manifest themselves into menacing physical threats as her sleepy village adopts an increasingly creepy visage, forcing Hinako to become a doggedly determined agent of her own destiny rather than a mere damsel in distress. From there, Silent Hill F's story confidently explores the complex themes of gender discrimination, child abuse, and drug dependency, among many other horrific human afflictions, gradually teasing out the root causes of Hinako's torment through the uncovering of private letters from her school friends and increasingly frequent encounters with malevolent visual metaphors. What unfolds is an utterly absorbing adventure, tautly paced and packed with surprises, including some moments of genuinely unsettling body horror and torture. It all builds to a thoroughly harrowing conclusion at the end of Hinako's 9-hour journey that left me with plenty of disturbing thoughts to process. Some of the neighborhood nasties seem pretty standard for a Silent Hill campaign, like the mannequin-esque dolls that go for your throat with kitchen knives from unchecked corners. However, there are a decent number of inspired new creature creations too, such as the twisted scarecrows modeled on Hinako's schoolmates that shift from contorted stationary poses to startling lunges whenever you turn your back to them. Later, there are some truly disgusting slack-mawed beasts covered in bulbous bellies like an enormous cluster of rotting flesh grapes that give birth to howling demon types in an attempt to overwhelm you. There's no doubt that Silent Hill F took one look at the series' dedication to conjuring up the most repulsive monstrosities possible and asked someone to hold its can of Asahi. I just wish I had as much fun fighting these magnificent monsters as I did marveling at their exceptionally ghastly forms, because actually taking them on usually isn't fun, and it isn't particularly frightening. It's just annoying, and this doesn't seem like the type of survival horror where you're supposed to feel outmatched and avoid combat whenever possible, at least not beyond its opening hours. Unlike many previous Silent Hill stories, there isn't a single shotgun or pistol to be found in Silent Hill F to battle these beasts with. Instead, Hinako is only capable of carrying up to 3 breakable melee weapons like crowbars and baseball bats that she finds in her surroundings. Having to constantly keep tabs on your health, stamina, sanity, and the state of your weapons all felt like a bit too much to balance for my taste, and I never really settled into an enjoyable groove with Silent Hill F's comparatively stilted and repetitive combat as a result. These attributes can admittedly be enhanced slightly over time with buffs and consumables you collect, but more often than not, I've liked Hanako would run out of puff faster than an asthmatic in a smoker's lounge, and I'd be forced to sort of awkwardly shuffle backwards away from a snarling enemy while I waited for her to remember how her arms worked. Even when there was still plenty of stamina up her school uniform sleeve, there were countless times where Hanako would just stubbornly pause between strikes for extended periods while I furiously pumped the attack button in vain. Coping with the restrictive nature of the stamina bar wasn't my main problem with Silent Hill F's melee combat, though, nor was it that my slow and energy-sapping swings would often clang harmlessly into nearby walls, despite the fact enemies would often continue to chase me into cramped corridors like some kind of sadomasochistic ghost. Silent Hill F's IGN score? 7 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on Silent Hill F, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.